Oh, Taco! How about that one?
That's our new leaders right there.
Big Silly!
University of Montevallo, 24-96. National champions, Wallace State, Briar and Clinton. What's up, everybody? Welcome into this episode of the Rapala We Are Collegiate Bass Podcast. Another new episode coming your way here today. We're talking with Blake Bullock and John Mark Berry from Blue Mountain Christian University, winners of the first Bassmaster College event of the season last week at the Harris Chain. Blake, let's pull you in first. First question, always the same thing when we're talking to winners of recent events. What's it like going out there, major stage on the college circuit, kicking off the 2023 season with a W?
It's awesome. You know, we always strive to win. We always swing for the fences, and sometimes that doesn't work out. But we were blessed this week, and we had a good week and caught a lot of fish. So it was awesome just going down there and just coming away with a win. I mean, it's awesome.
2-day total of 46 pounds, 11 ounces, taking the victory of that more than 250 boat field. John, we'll pull you in here, catching over 46 pounds of bass, going out there, topping one of the best fields in collegiate bass fishing as teams from all over the country come to compete. Talk about what it means to be able to best that field and have what could have been maybe one of your best 2 days of fishing in your life.
And it means everything. When you're fishing college, you're fishing against the best. You have two guys in the boat that are both have great knowledge and can both catch them. And fishing against all those good anglers, man, to come away and catch that much weight was just amazing. You know, 29 pounds was both our biggest bag the first day, which was incredible. I feel like we could have had a little bit more, but we left the fish for the next day. But, well, I mean, it didn't set in that we had 29 pounds till after the turn. I was like, holy crap, we had 29 pounds, which was awesome in the moment. I'll never forget. And the next day to come back to the same spot and milk it and catch 17, 11 we had the next day was still incredible. We thought we could catch a little bit more weight, but, man, it got the win, and it was just unreal, and it was a blessing to do that, especially against the best guys in the country in a 275 boat field, which was truly amazing.
Heck of a 2 days of fishing for sure. You see it a lot in Florida. Someone will catch a big bag on day one, and it's really hard to duplicate it. You know, coming back in with what y'all did on the second day in the high teens is really good. Other days you'll be watching at the pro level. These guys will go sack up 30 pounds, and they might even mess around in zero on the second day. So good 2 days of fishing. Y'all were on them, obviously. Let's talk about the area that y'all were fishing to catch these winning bass. Blake, break it down a little. We talked to the guys from Catawba that won the MLF event the week prior on the same fishery there at the Harris Chain where y'all got the win the following week. They were fishing offshore, targeting some stuff off the bank. I know when you go to Florida in the spring, you think spawning bass in January, you see all the reeds and it's really tempting. Is that what y'all did, or were y'all off the bank catching your fish and they were moving to you throughout the tournament?
Well, when we went down there, we knew we wanted to fish offshore. We fished last year there, and we fished offshore, and we had 23 pounds in the first day, and just like you were talking about, we only had 12 pounds the second day, but we qualified, so it was, you know, good enough. But going down there this year, we knew we needed to find something that was kind of off the beaten path and not just going down the bank, because a lot of people were just doing that. We fished. It was a grass patch. It was coontail, actually. It was a pretty good size, probably 30 by 30, and it led into a shell bed and a spawning pocket, so it was just kind of – it was a perfect little staging spot for them, and there was a lot of fish there, and there's a lot of shad there, so I think that's kind of what put those big fish there, just feeding up for getting ready for the spawn. This warmer weather coming, and actually the second day there was a lot of postponers. I think that cold weather kind of pulled some of those fish that had already spawned back out. So it was just a perfect little spot for those fish. That just a good moving spot, just a good stopping point for them. So I don't know. It was a magical spot, really.
Now that we know about the spot, John, tell us a little bit about what y'all are throwing at him. I always kind of think, you know, offshore spots. You guys familiar with the Tennessee River, Pickwick Lake, somewhere that we fish in the summer a lot on the Bass Pro Shops Collegiate Bass Fishing Series. And you talk to people. Granted, you're not on a ledge on the Tennessee River there in Florida, but there's different ways to attack it. You know, you could throw moving baits, try and fire up the school, or you can just sit there and soak a worm all day and get 5 or 6 bites, and you'll catch 29 pounds like you guys did. How did you go about targeting those fish on that one specific spot over 2 days?
You know, up here we're at Blue Mountain, we're by Pickwick and the Tennessee River, and Gunnersville is one of my favorite lakes for offshore grass fishing. And And we took the same things we do at Pickwick. My partner's really good at Pickwick, and I fished a lot, spent a lot of time on Gunnersville and done well there too. And we like to throw moving baits, rattle traps, chatter baits, and that's what they usually buy on the Tennessee River because they eat those big gizzard shad. And you target that in your offshore grass and offshore fishing in the fall time and springtime with the Tennessee River. So we kind of did the same things in Florida when we would start with the moving bait and practice and see if we can get bit in the offshore spots we found, and don't get bit on the moving bait, pick up a worm, and just see if you can get a bite on that to see what they're doing. Because this is my third year fishing Harris chain, and I've always done offshore at Harris chain, and we've done well out there. And one year I went, and it was they wouldn't hit a moving bait in the spring. It was just a worm offshore in the grass. And then the next past 2 years, it's been a moving bait deal. So we either would pick up a moving bait, and they don't bite that, we try a worm and see what they do. But the biggest thing on our spot was we were slow rolling a chatterbait. They wouldn't need a rattle trap on it, and that's what we wanted to catch them on. But it was real. It had to be real specific. You had to slow roll this chatterbait and get it down in that grass as you're fishing in like 10 foot of water, and 8 to 10 foot of water, and it's isolated grass out there, and you had to just barely tick the grass, fish it real slow like a scrounger. And it was a certain color chatterbait, golden shiner, and that was the deal. I would throw a dirty white jackhammer down there, and they would not touch it. I mean, it had to be a 3/8 ounce, and you had to just creep it in that grass, and they ate that. And the second biggest bait was I did pick up a worm the first day and got a cull, and we ended up culling that fish out at the end of the day. But the second day, I caught my biggest fish on a worm. I was able to pick that worm up again when it got tough, middle of the day, the sun's high. Drug the worm, got one bite, and that fish ended up being our biggest the second day. Ended up probably being the winning fish, you know. So the worm did play a factor, but the biggest thing was moving baits early. I mean, it's pre-spawn, it's cold. Same thing on the Tennessee River, stuff like that around home. A moving bait was the key this time. Most of the time when they're post-spawn out there offshore in grass, it's a little bit warmer in Florida, they'll eat a worm better. But the biggest deal was definitely a moving bait for sure.
We're talking with Blake Bullock and John Mark Berry from Blue Mountain Christian University, winners of the Bassmaster College event at the Harris Chain just over a week ago. We'll talk about the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia in just a minute and the implications of this victory towards y'all's team's possible upward movement in the standings when they get released here this week. Two more items about this event before we go on. Blake, tell me a little bit about a little lucky charm. You're telling me about it as we were setting up the interview. There was possibly a lucky goose that was hanging out in the area where y'all were fishing. Talk about that and maybe now that you're done, kind of a few chuckles you've had about it after winning the tournament.
Yeah, so we had some guys fishing with us, same spot. They're from Wabash Valley, and it was about 9:30 the first day they had gotten there, and we had a few fish in the boat, some small ones, and they actually pulled that goose out and said, here's the lucky charm, and put it on the back deck. And as soon as they put that thing on the back deck, it was just, they fired up. And we ended up, we probably had 3 fish at that point, all 2.5 pounders, and we had 20.7 in about 15 minutes after they pulled that goose out. So it was crazy how it worked, but we gave a lot of credit to that goose. So when they pulled out the second day too, and it got us enough to get the win. So it was crazy. It was a funny story. We took pictures of it after and with them, and it was a cool story.
That's awesome. It's funny, the superstitious things that happen. I remember when I was in college, me and my partner were fishing, and we were getting ready for an event that weekend, and it was practice, and we were listening to music or something in the boat, and we decided that, hey, if we catch a fish while this song is playing during the tournament, we're just going to play the whole album the entire day. Well, like 30 seconds later, he lands one, and we listened to whole album from start to finish of the tournament day the next day. We didn't win the tournament, but we had a good time, kind of a funny laugh. Sometimes the good luck charms, man, they do pay off, and there's a little bit of good mojo that comes along with it. John, let's talk about one of your teammates. We've seen it on social media the last couple weeks, Camden from Blue Mountain Christian University, fighting cancer. I want to say that I saw this morning, maybe even we're filming this on Wednesday, that he was going into surgery today. Thoughts and prayers are with him, obviously, as he goes through this, his family and everyone involved. Going out for the first tournament, we saw on social media the campaign that y'all are putting together, casting for Camden. How awesome is it to be fishing in honor of him He's actually in the event, made the trip with y'all to Florida for that one. You go out fishing, casting for Camden, and you get the victory. What are your emotions as you look back on that, knowing that, man, that's a pretty monumental moment to be able to pair those two things together and get a win?
Man, the emotions were definitely high. I mean, I remember when we had the enough weight. I mean, it just set in, and I hugged Blake, and a lot went through my head, and I just went to tears, because that was a lot for our team. It meant a lot to our school. It meant a lot to Camden. As we went down there, we've had struggles with our team, with a guy on our team's grandpa's in the hospital, and didn't know if he would make it, and just a lot going on. Camden with cancer, of course, and we've been battling a lot, and so many emotions happened. I cried after the tournament like a baby on stage, and it was just a lot of emotions built up. But that was definitely for Camden. He's having surgery today, and we've been all praying for him, and know God's going to take care of him. So that win means a lot to our team. It was just perfect time, and it was a God thing, really. I mean, that without God, I mean, that just shows you, how He works and how He's working Camden's life to rejuvenate our team and give Camden, a good spirit about it and boost his confidence and stuff. And he's a phenomenal fisherman, and he's done real good in college as well. And I think this will boost his confidence and give him a lot of hope, in these times of struggles. But just shows how God works and how He's going to help Camden, help him beat this cancer for sure.
That's awesome. Definitely praying for him. What we think about him, his family. We hope the surgery goes well today and we see him back out on the trail soon. You guys are doing a great job there as a team, helping to support him as well, as I know it's a tough time for everyone involved. But making the best out of it, getting the win, some good things happening there with Blue Mountain Christian. Also good things coming out of that victory that took place. Valuable points towards a Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia. As we talk today, we've got the standings ready. More than likely, by the time we drop this will come out on Thursday. Hope to have the standings out, if not before that, just shortly after Friday morning at the latest. So we'll look out for those standings here in a little bit where these points will be included. But entering that event, our last update was in the middle of January. Blue Mountain Christian sat at 12th with 11,215 points. Good showing at the MLF event like we were talking about, and then the following week you guys back it up with the win. So there's a chance that y'all might be able to slide up into the top 10. Blake, so far this season, talk about how things have panned out. You guys are in top 25, coveted place in the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia with a strong chance of moving on into the top 10.
Yeah, so far we've had a pretty good season. Just before the break, me and John Mark went over to Lake of the Pines and got a third-place finish, so that helped. And then the guys down at the MLF tournament, Harris Chain, we had, I think, a 15th and a 17th, so that also boosts us pretty good. And then we back it up with a win. So, obviously, we hope that gets us up in the top 10 or at least close and gets us within striking distance, where we want to be. We'd like to be in the top 5 after, it all shakes out, but we'll see how that goes. But it's cool being on a team. We always seem to have someone that does well, and we just hope to keep doing well this season. We got a lot of tournaments left, so you never know, but we're gonna find out. So we just hope to keep doing well.
Blake touched on it a bit there. John, you guys are looking to move up, hopefully into the top 10, maybe even the top 5 when the season ends. Everything's going to culminate at Lake Hartwell in Anderson, South Carolina with the U.S. Collegiate Bass Fishing Championship presented by Bass Pro Shops. That's the final event of the year. For us, the final event to count towards points for that School of the Year race. It's going to be a triple points event. Registration's open on our website, collegiatebasschampionship.com. Registration also open for the Pickwick Slam in April. Be sure to get over there. But as we go forward, y'all want to move into the top 10, have hopes on moving into the top 5. To be able to do that, what do you want to see happen for Blue Mountain Christian over the course of the next 4 or 5 months to keep that momentum rolling, build on these victories, and have a shot at accomplishing what y'all set out to do?
We're just going to strive to, do our best. We're always in the dorm room researching lakes, doing our homework before we go to these lakes. I think we've got a good bond in our dorms with the team, and spending time together and finding ways to break down these lakes before we go, and doing our research and going out there and giving it all we have on the water. I think that's the biggest thing, and that's what we got a lot going on our team now. We got a good group of guys that want to strive to do their best. And, of course, hopefully we'll have Camden back by then, too, to help us out with that as well. And we're going to strive and do our best and work hard as we can at every lake and strive to win. We want to show up to a lake and we want to be there to win. We don't want to be there to settle for just qualifying or settle for a top 50 or a top 25. We want to be there to win. And I think we have a lot of that going on our team. And I think if we strive to win and do those things and execute well and keep those hopes high, that we'll do good and slip in there and maybe get in the top 5, top 10, or maybe even higher when it's all said and done. Blue Mountain, we like Blake said, we usually have somebody at the top in every tournament, and I think we can continue doing that, and we'll get there and where we want to be and be in striking distance to close the deal, maybe. But we're just going to do our best that we can.
Plenty of points earning opportunities out there. Plenty of chances for Blue Mountain Christian to move up in the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia. If you're wanting to find out more points earning opportunities, events that are out there on the calendar that are going to count towards the School of the Year race, go over to collegiatebasschampionship.com. Hit the tab there at the top right. Go down to School of the Year. You'll see a qualifying events page. You can see all the opportunities that remain between now and the end of May there at the Belt US Collegiate Bass Fishing Championship presented by Bass Pro Shops. Blake and John, guys, congratulations on that win. Thanks for joining us here on the show today. Keep casting for Camden, and we hope to see you guys on the tournament trail here in the next couple months.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fishing is all about connecting with nature. Then grabbing nature by the lip and holding it up for a picture.
To fishermen and other liars, the time you spent on the docks, the banks, the boats, the lines you cast, and the hooks you set. These moments you share with the people you love, the fish you never forget, and the tales that get taller with every retelling. Make memories that'll last a lifetime with Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here.